Welcome to the Marketing Mirror. As we take you on an adventure into social media with Sue Ann of Right Mix for Business and co-host Jaime Shine of Clearly Conveyed Communications. Sue Ann and Jaime invite you to share in all the latest as we find out if social media is broken, what to do about it, and how it changes your marketing today.
Sue Ann and Jaime will explore the latest in social media marketing and cover the topics you need to know.
Hello, hello, and welcome. You're checking out our summer soiree here at the Marketing Mirror, our sizzling summer soiree. We have a couple of special panel members today with Jaime Shine of Clearly Conveyed Communications and Lisa Sicard of Inspired to Thrive, our favorite guest. And today we have a big bash mishmash hodgepodge in mind for you guys to hit you up with some of the most important topics on social media marketing and all things digital. Welcome, ladies. How are you?
Good. How are you two doing?
I'm good. How about you guys?
It's a summer Friday.
Yes.
I'm happy to be here. It went from like miserable, rainy, no summer to like sweltering here in Pittsburgh. How about you guys? Is it normal or is it like abnormal? Because it went from like we can't even go out and play. It's rainy. It's not that great. And now it's like 92.
Yeah, we had that and then it actually cooled down last night, but of course the wildfire smoke was significant. I hesitated to go out, but I'm like I have to go for a walk, but it's unfortunate because it actually cooled down for the first time in a while, but whew,
Oh my gosh,
the air
Lisa.
was rough.
Lisa's so far more north than us, and I have it here, and I'm further south than you, James. So I
Yeah.
can't believe how foggy it was yesterday, and it is again today.
Yes.
What's it like up there, Lisa?
Actually, we went really cool this morning. It was in the 50s. It felt like fall, and the
Wow.
wildfire smoke actually went over us. So we didn't get any. It's
You
Oh.
you
kind of
just send it
strange.
on down this way.
Yeah, it went like over the mountain or it just bypassed us. The wind must have taken it.
Wow. Yeah,
Were you surprised, James, how
it was
bad it was?
noticeable here.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was even worse in Cleveland. But hey, we're just right across the lake, so they're our neighbors.
Crazy. I was surprised, and it was really noticeable yesterday outside here. Like it actually looked like fog, but
Yeah.
you could kind of see. I don't know. It seemed weird, like almost like summer snow or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have lots of good things to talk about today, and so I'm going to throw up a little bit of something to share just for extra kicks and giggles. You know me. Here we go. Are we seeing it? Yep, we are. And so we want to talk about we want to talk about, but calm, cool, collect, and just between us, the things that are going on because we have a lot of loose ends that we've kind of left out there with social media, with the different platforms that we've been covering, and with how fast things are changing. Social media isn't the same as it was a year ago, let alone a dozen years ago when, we were all playing already in it. So uh, it's really the pace right now is faster than ever. So everybody's welcome to our soiree. So pop on in and say hello, leave comments, whether you're watching live or whether you join us on the replay. Everybody is welcome at the sizzling summer social soiree. And I'm so glad Lisa and Jaime are here too. So, for our first topic, we were kind of thinking we should measure the temperature. Yes, the temperature of the social media marketing scene. What is the mood of social media marketing right now? Because let's face it, it's been a little bit inclement. Inclement. It's been funny. Some people think and feel that social media is broken. It's so different than it was just a short time ago. And it doesn't feel the same in a lot of ways. So, everybody's questioning social media and how we should go about it. But one of the things I think, and you guys can tell me what you think, but I feel like social media changing and evolving is just like everything in business. We've been in business for a long time, and we know that if you are going to be a business owner, you need to be flexible. You need to evolve. You need to change with the climate, with the customers, with the economy, with the culture. So we should be okay with changing with social media, but we've kind of done it in a kind of like with just tweaking more than a major change, I think, for a dozen years or at least 10 years. What do you guys think?
I think the biggest thing today, I mean, is the speed with the changes. The platforms are so, I won't say desperate, well, I will say desperate, to constantly update, and they're trying to copy the best features from each other. They're trying to, stay on top of where they think, not what users want, but where they think they should take the direction of the platform, usually for revenue purposes. But it's the speed of the changes that people have a hard time keeping up with. It seems like every week new updates are coming out, algorithm updates. Platforms are adding new features or testing it somewhere in the world or rolling things out or rolling it back, or it's just a constant news stream of information coming out of the platforms. And I can see why small business owners or creators are overwhelmed if they're on multiple platforms.
What's your take, Lisa? Why is it all crazy and people are freaking out and I think even jumping off of it in a way?
I believe just like Jamie that it's changing at a ever speed. It's constantly every day. For example, X now, all of a sudden it's back to the old Twitter. And I'm starting to see people I haven't seen on there in years that I thought weren't even on X anymore. So they're all changing like that. I mean, Instagram, they had the thing where they were going to have the be able to use your image in AI, and there was a
Yes.
backlash, and so they took that back. I mean, there's just so many things changing at once, and it's hard to focus on more than three channels if you're active there.
You know what I think? I think that it would be more interesting if they were all sort of chasing the same direction. Like everybody's trying to be the same instead of like really like hunkering down and being like the greatest at something that they do individually or uniquely, because it seems like right now, as we've talked about before, everybody's on the short video train and everything's short quick, because there is that climate. And they call it the, I forget, there is some kind of phrase now for TikTokism of the planet. But it's interesting. But here's the thing, social media is where your audience is. It's still that way. If you want to find your peeps, like we've been preaching this one for a long time, you need to go to where people hang out, and people hang out on social media. In fact, I think the latest statistic is there's nearly 7 billion people using social media regularly monthly, and I think of the population, that's something like 2 and 3 people. I do have a link I could put up to for that stat, but it's interesting. I think it's from Data Portal, but it's interesting that regardless of the changes on that we're going to get into on all the platforms, it's interesting that we can still maintain that the important thing is finding your target market and concentrating on the social media on in the place where the people that you want to find and you want to hang out are. That's where you're going to be most effective, or find your tribe, so to speak. But the other thing about that is a lot of people think, if you hear Gary Vee and some of the big, gurus and big voices, it's, be omni-channel, be on every single platform. But I think Lisa and Jamie and I all agree that, and we tell especially clients who are new to social media, that you want to start and work on one platform and really become, excel at that platform before you move to a second and then a third. You want to excel, and then you also will get to a point, even when you are doing well on multiple platforms, where it's still a matter of spreading yourself so thin. Some creators are on one platform and that's all they need. They're doing, big business through, YouTube as their platform. But I think that it's different for everybody. And I think that, again, excel in one before you go on.
I did want to jump in. I saw a really interesting stat sometime this week. This week's kind of been a blur, so I don't remember when it was. But, Sue Ann and I have talked so much about building your brand and how essential that is today. And I thought this was perfect. 63%, this is not platform specific, but 63% of LLM visibility, or you coming up on AI search, is driven by long-term brand building. So it really find your place and find your tribe, but it's a long-term game. So AI search ranks your brand by what you say over time. And that came from Later Media. It really drives home the point we've been making for several episodes that, it's not a quick thing. You may have something pop, but you have to keep at it over time. And no matter what platform you're on or platforms, you really need to build your brand. It's the root of everything today.
Absolutely. I think we have some more stuff coming up on that too about it. For one thing, some surprising stats about that small brands can do as well and be noticed bigger or as big as big brands. So it's not a matter of size, it's a matter of the quality of that brand and how you put yourself in a visible digital space. Lisa, any comments before we move along?
Yeah, I actually saw it in action about an hour ago. I was looking something up that I had written about engagement farming, and to my surprise, it showed my X feed where I had a video about it. It showed my YouTube. It showed that before my article. So I was kind of taken aback by that.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at your social
Um,
boosting your.
I was going to throw this in at the end, but this seems like the perfect time to say it. On your Google Analytics, you're going to have now the ability to get data directly from social channels. And I think it was three or four, it's four of them. I know it was TikTok, YouTube, X, and Instagram. That's the four. Haha, I remembered all four. And they are going to be able to be in your G4, in your Google Analytics. You're actually going to be. So, that to me, if Google is giving you a way to track and have analytics and data directly connected to your social channels, that tells me that those channels are a factor somehow. What do you think is in search, guys?
Definitely. I think those are the channels that Google will show. Um, I can't wait to get that in my analytics. I haven't got it yet. I keep looking every day and nothing yet.
So you did hear it. I was like, wow, this is cool because how
Yeah.
pertinent.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So now we're going to jump into the question of just last week when we mentioned Tim Solo and Neville Medora's interview of him. He's the Ahrefs guy, and we learned it's Ahrefs, which was interesting. But he was questioning, as we have over the years now, whether YouTube is a social channel or social media platform or not. Some would say it's a search or a video search platform or a free video sharing platform. It is a search platform. It is a video platform. Is it social, you guys?
I still think it's social. Like we talked about earlier, I know no one wants to be social media today. It's not cool, but they consider themselves a streaming platform. But I think it can be multiple things. I think it's still a social platform.
we said you got to make a date with YouTube this year. And we said part of the reason is because YouTube is really flexing. It's taking over streaming, it's taking over traditional media channels. It's like kicking butt, it's taking over Netflix. We had stats earlier on that it's doing that well. And that's why I'm bringing it up today, because what's happening is, and you know that I'm kind of concentrating the main of my hub from my YouTube work and building out my other content around this, and that's, as a writer, a very unusual way to do it. So I'm putting my eggs in this YouTube basket, but I like to try to follow the rules in the YouTube basket. And it's hard to follow the rules, because following the rules, like following the shooting stars and, moons and things across
Yeah.
the sky, because it just seems like an ever moving target. So I don't know, on YouTube doing something, and Michael Kinney, who is a creator who I've caught some things on, but then I realized most of his stuff's about Mac and doing things on Mac, and I'm not a Mac user. But he started a new channel recently, and it's a creator channel, and he was talking about new roles on YouTube. And I listened. He just got done doing the live when I like caught it on my feed, and so I put it on and I listened to it for like an hour, and then I started writing comments like, "This is insane. This is like mishmash craziness. This is so ambiguous. This is not fair. These rules, like, I don't get it. How are you supposed to follow these rules?" But some of the things that came up that he was talking about were some of the criteria for like inauthentic content. And what's interesting is that what they deem inauthentic content can be like such a, again, waving scale. Like, it's not like there's no set standard. It's sort of what they decide is inauthentic rather than this or that meets the criteria. Another thing that they're weighing is educational channels, which I kind of consider what we do as an educational platform, an educational channel. And they have a thing written in these new rules that says educational channels can be demonetized or booted from YouTube if they're not educational enough. Well, excuse me. What is educational enough, and who decides? And what are you allowed to educate on or not? Is some of the questions that he brought up, and also come to mind for me. Have you guys seen these new things?
Yeah, like I realize that they have fully moved into the AI. They consider themselves an AI answer engine now. You can't see my quote marks. And that's great. So they favor, they love short form videos that answer questions quickly. But we've seen people have a lot of success with other types of content. We've seen people have success with long term content, people creating these shows now, coming back with different episode series. So it is frustrating because, that they're trying to push certain types of content just like every other platform, and it's
Well, I think part of the problem is that people don't know what's real and what's not. I think that's
yeah.
one of the issues. Because at first people thought inauthentic meant it was AI, and I don't think AI as much as automated. Like, if you have your content created with like an automated process that does this. But here's the other thing. Okay, so that's something else they mentioned: structure. They said if you use a templated content or structure, if you have structured content, like you do the same thing over and over, that could be deemed like something that they will either demonetize or throw off the platform. Like, they canceled a lot of channels, and some of them were making buku money on AdSense, but they decided that that the content wasn't like up to snuff. Maybe because YouTube, in Michael's opinion, maybe because YouTube is trying to like weed out and have a higher quality product. he suggested on YouTube? Like maybe they don't want to pay just anyone just because the goofy people with masses will follow stuff. Maybe if it's too goofy or not up to some kind of standard, I guess they're saying that they don't want to put them on them, pay them is kind of his take. I'm not sure about that.
Well,
But
I think they do. They consider, they consider themselves a streaming platform. They're not looking at other social platforms as their competition. They're looking at Netflix and HBO Max and the other streaming platforms. So they're holding themselves up to that standard.
and he said maybe it's going to be like a pay to play to even get on YouTube instead of it being a free and open platform for video people. Also, it could be a matter of they decide who gets paid. You might still be able to get on it, but you won't be ever make it to their pay tier by some criteria. They're getting more specific about who they want to pay, but they did introduce shows, right? The new
Yeah.
shows thing that's been out for a while, but now it's being pushed. Like people are seeing it come up on their dash. Lisa, did you get monetized yet? That you hit 500? Did they send you?
No, you have to have 1,000, or you have to have so many watch hours. So I'm still not
Oh,
there. No.
Oh my
wow.
gosh, darn it!
Yeah,
Because
no,
then we
they've
could.
changed that.
Well, and here's the next thing that's kind of interesting that might surprise you guys. They also had UK approach YouTube that they wanted YouTube to control things per the government's request, and they want to push state approved media only and crush out independent voices. Now this has been verified. Here's the paperwork, and it's the UK government. So what YouTube did is to its creators who were like big individual creators. I think sometimes in the news space, at least this guy that shared it is in like the news space as an individual or independent creator. And he said that YouTube sent the information that they got from the YouTube to these creators to let them know, like basically, you're getting bumped out of this market if we do this. I think they're trying to draw attention to it maybe and get pushback. I'm not sure, but have you guys heard or seen that?
No, but it reminds
No.
me of back in the COVID times in the US when a lot of channels got kicked off, and that's how Rumble, began, and so it may be time to think about other platforms if they're going to start doing all this stuff. And
Yeah.
the thing is, with all the social channels, they own it, so they can do what they want, and that's why you always have to have your home base, and
Yes.
and use a couple different platforms at least, because if you get bumped from one, where do you go? You want to be able to have a following somewhere where you can do the videos.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that makes you think that you do need to be on a couple platforms for sure. Good thinking, Lisa. And but I was shocked. Here's the thing, Lisa. This could fall over to X because they also wanted to. They what they said about X, the UK is, I think they know that Elon wouldn't like their letter and wouldn't obey it, and so their solution for X is to just blank. They can't get it there, like not allow that channel. And you might love or hate X, but I'm going to say that some people think, and it might actually hold water, that Elon saved free speech when he took over X. And it's important that we keep it going. And people who don't think X is important, just watch the news because it's still on there as a source. And think of how many people like mark themselves safe when there's issues or and things like that using that platform. X is definitely a modern platform. It also has a lot of the like latest up to date like trending information and things in my opinion. What do you think, Lisa? That's one of your faves.
Yeah, I just did a video this morning about it because the algorithm has just changed. And it's going back to where it used to be in the old days when we all had conversations every day because we saw all our friends. And now that's what they did with this algorithm. They changed it back. And it's been great. I mean, it's only been a few days, but I've noticed people that I thought were disappeared and they're there. And I checked my stats before coming on. The last 7 days, everything was up because the algorithm's the old X. So
Oh my
it's
gosh! So
interesting.
that was going to
Nice.
be my question. If you guys even heard the rumor that the feed, that the, that your organic feed was coming back with your friends and followers and your. I appreciate that because I do miss people, and I wonder if people that I'm friends with are still on there because it seems like sometimes I can't find them or I don't know, but
Yeah.
people are starting to show up now that you mentioned it.
Nice. That's awesome. Good news update.
Lisa and I talked about Twitter before because people thought Twitter was dead back then, and and we said not so fast. And you can see that it's still growing. In my opinion.
Well, and it's such a great space to have chats on.
What
We
do we
all
know about
take part
TikTok?
of chats in there.
Anything, Lisa? Lisa's trying it. Did you try it yet, James, or you didn't go for it?
No.
Yeah, so I've been on TikTok, geez, maybe over a month now, and the one thing I noticed is that my videos seem to get more watches quicker than YouTube, like the shorts if I compare them. And also on TikTok, I get views after the 24-hour period. With YouTube, I don't get many views after that 24-hour period, especially with the shorts, maybe the long form, especially if they're embedded on a blog post. But I've been noticing with TikTok, my views keep coming after.
Hmm.
And
So
there's
it
only
has some
one
staying
place for the
power.
link. I can only have a link in my bio, but I noticed traffic starting to come from TikTok. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Mm.
That's definitely interesting. Um, Also, you do get traffic from Twitter, right, Lisa? Because that's the thing about Twitter. Even when it's off, it's still a traffic source to my videos on YouTube, even, and to my website. So, you kind of have to keep liking Twitter for that reason. What about you guys?
Definitely, that's been my number one source of traffic since the beginning. And only a couple months in the past, 2 years has it gone down to number two, and then it's right back up at number one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's nice that they allow links on that platform. They're not trying to push them out of the way so you can actually drive traffic back to your website or your blog or your owned
They say the
space.
demographic is rising too, right? Like it used to be all young people if for a target market. So if you didn't have a younger market, you weren't marketing to a younger audience, you weren't hopping on TikTok. But my understanding is, have you read this, you guys, that the demographic is slowly, aging up a little?
Yes, I've seen that. Yes.
It makes sense. And
Okay, here's what Lisa mentioned earlier. James, do you want to talk about Instagram because you usually have your eye on that?
something I just saw recently that I thought was really interesting regarding Instagram. I mean, there's been a lot of talk about various things, but Gen Z is is big on Instagram, which may surprise people, and they're using it for professional networking. Like I actually saw a headline that said Gen Z is turning Instagram into the new LinkedIn. Like that's where they're going to network professionally to grow that, to look for jobs or career opportunities. So a lot of companies and employers are
How
promoting that
how
they're
much
hiring on
text
there.
is on there? I thought it was more like a visual platform for the
It
most
is,
part.
but text on screen is blowing up right now. It's very big, it's trending. I think it comes from carousels being so popular, but it's also spilled over into reels now. So you're seeing a lot of not only text on screen, but big text on screen, maximizing that text space. So it kind of annoys me sometimes because people are posting these reels with like text over their face, but it's performing well overall on the entire platform. Um, so there's definitely a lot of you're seeing that pop up in so many trend reports. I'm just glad that they rolled back. We were going to mention last week the whole AI thing that Lisa touched on earlier, that they could use your likeness and image, and kudos to them for rolling it back when people flipped out, rightfully so. That they took that off, so you don't have to choose between having your likeness and image available for AI and choosing between a number of tools that they had it embedded in. So that's nice. Obviously, on YouTube, you automatically agree to use your content for AI to train Gemini, so that's not something you can opt out of. But, at least Instagram for now. Who knows if they'll come back with it later. But for now, you don't have to worry about that.
Lisa, I know you have some update on Instagram for us, don't you? What's going on in your accounts and your clients with Insta?
Yeah, I just noticed in my stats that I had a lot more visitors from Instagram because I was focusing on stories just last week. With the stories, you can put your link, and now you can change the link to read, like, check out my guide here, or whatever text you want on
Hmm.
there instead of just the link. So that's really nice. I like that feature. And I try to do at least one a day, and you can do, three a day or more to generate some traffic. So the stories still have value. You may not get a lot of people seeing the stories, but the ones that do usually click.
Yeah.
So I like that. And I struggle with what Jamie was mentioning about the videos, especially the reels, having the text overlapping. Like, I
Yes,
do some with the text overlap, I do some with none because I think it takes away.
I do too. I do
Yeah.
too. I can't
I
get rid of my design background in that element. Like aesthetics matter for functionality, and just putting text over top of things bothers me.
Yep.
It's,
my
so,
shorts I was going to ask you guys because that's on top of what you do like when you do your captions or whatever, right?
yeah,
Because I find that even hard. I keep moving them around because on one channel if you share them they get marked over by text or something from the channel platform, and then on another platform they cover something else. So like, I keep shifting around
I
where does my wording go?
I do think it's interesting, whereas text is really big right now on Instagram on the visual. On YouTube, like your thumbnails, visuals without text are performing better if it's just a striking visual. So it's funny how one platform it's blowing up on and the other platform it's, overall platform wide, it's not performing as well. But one of the biggest updates coming from Instagram, obviously, is the multi caption on carousels. Carousels are still very popular, especially if you're adding music, because your carousels can show up in the Reels tab if you're using music, but you can use multi caption now, so you can have a different caption for every carousel slide, which is a cool feature. You know, think about it and make sure it makes sense. You may not need to use it for every carousel. Sometimes people get a little crazy with new features and just try to use them without adding any value to your content. So, but that you could do a lot of fun things with the multi caption. So it's good to see that coming in.
It's all so crazy and flying around lately. What about Facebook? Is it doing anything new and exciting? I have people when it comes to their reels or stories or videos, now Facebook forces your videos into like a reels format. So you have to be careful how you upload it because you can get it still to be a vertical video, and sometimes it's even like if a person turns their phone to horizontal, they can get, did I say vertical? A horizontal video, they just have to turn their phone. It'll be full screen then. But it's a matter of how you upload it. The other thing is thumbnails. Those you have to put on as you're uploading onto Facebook. They have like a place where you place them. They're not like something that you can like set at the beginning of your video. It won't work that way. Any other weird things going on? There's been so many weird things on Facebook. People can't like share stuff on there and stuff isn't showing up. I've had a few people ask me questions about stuff like that. They can't get it out. But we've had that same thing on other platforms where you want to grab a link, but you can't get the main link. You get the 4-page long LinkedIn link or Facebook link,
Yeah.
and you can't get out of it.
I think it's interesting how if I'm uploading a video in the Meta Business Suite, you can toggle back and forth between the feed preview and the real preview, whether someone's seeing it on the desktop or mobile, it displays differently. Like it doesn't automatically display as a reel. It'll look like a normal post. Like if you're using a Square video, for instance, it'll post as a Square video if you're viewing it on desktop. It doesn't automatically, like it's in a reel format, everything's a reel, but it displays differently. So it really depends on where your traffic's coming from.
Well, one thing I can say is, again, Facebook, which I don't pay super a lot attention to, but I'm starting to because I know you guys do. And Jamie's very, very into it. Lisa's come back to it. But it does actually send traffic to, yes, again, my YouTube channel. I'm noticing Facebook show up as a source. And also, it's got, because it's like everything heading towards videos, when I'm putting up organic videos like my Marketing Millie little shorts, vertical videos, and even whatever videos up, I'm noticing that they're getting a lot of views beyond any content that I've done on there recently or in the last year. Those things are getting impressions and views compared to other things. So maybe that is helping you, like, again, with that brand voice, but you have to kind of lean towards the video content or the algo won't put it out there. What do you think, Lisa? I know you have a lot for this one.
I do notice that the videos are getting more, but they're not necessarily getting the engagement. They are getting the views, but I don't always see the engagement. And I don't know if that's because they're trying to get you to do the ads or they're trying to get you to do their subscription base for pages. I get emails from them every week. Oh, you should subscribe. Get a subscription, get the check mark, and I've thought about trying it either on Facebook or Instagram. I just haven't yet. I wasn't sure which one I would try it on first, and I just don't want to be stuck having it month after month, or But I really should do a trial on that to test it out and see what it can do.
That's another question for you. Where you're posting it, the page versus the profile, because they've combined them in a way, and yet, you like, I'm having a little trouble. Where should I be posting? Or maybe people are wondering that.
I've been strictly keeping to my page for now. I've been only using my personal just a little bit, just kind of getting my feet wet again because it's been years since I posted personally. So I'm trying to keep my business stuff all on the page itself.
Yikes. Because, see, guess when I started coming back on there and they switched it from, separate page and personal to like your one thing, I started kind of posting on personal because everybody was saying at the time, all my social media buds at the time was saying that that's the only way you'll get anything, any views. They weren't giving any views at all. They weren't putting out at all on any feed anything from pages, just from personal. And then the condensed, it was like you reach the same people or something, supposedly.
Yeah,
One
well, part of it
Shane,
depends
tell
on
us.
how you've set up your personal profile. I mean, if you set that up for business reasons, that's one thing. I did not. I actually set up, it's funny, I actually set up my personal profile on Facebook like way back when in order to set up a page because you had to. At one point, they were like, it was required. But I don't have, like, mine is mostly personal. So it has a lot of friends and family on there. So it's not going to benefit me a lot to post my business content on my personal profile with my current network on there. So I think it depends on how you've set it up. and who is actually on in your community on your page versus your profile. If it's a business audience, go for it. If it's not,
I wouldn't be on any social at all if it wasn't for my business.
yeah. So it,
I'd
it,
just be
it
a
comes
hermit.
down to the one thing I want to tell you were talking about Facebook, but just to go back to Instagram lately, while I have been noticing in my feed because you can post directly from the Edits app. I haven't done that yet. I usually export my videos and then take them wherever I want to go, but you can actually post directly to some of these platforms from the Edits app without exporting them. And I've been seeing a lot of that in my Instagram feed, like because it's marked on there that it came from the Edits app. And I wondered, since they own that app, if they're boosting those at all. So I'm going to try that on my next video I create in there. I'm going to post it directly from the app and see how it affects my insights. Maybe I'm just noticing it because I've used the app extensively, but I am seeing a lot of those. So I haven't read that anywhere. It was just something I personally wondered since it's their app.
Lisa, do you have any more Facebook notes, girlfriend?
I was just checking my Instagram because I thought I used the edits, but I'm not seeing it marked on mine, so probably not. I thought I did, but
Well,
I
it's
might have.
only marked on the video on the platform if you publish directly from there, which I
Right, which
don't. I typically export. So,
yeah, I thought I had done one right from it, but I don't see it marked on mine, so probably not.
oh,
I probably did like you. I probably just published it out
like
and then
exported it. Yeah,
uploaded.
yeah, because you can
Yep.
just take it wherever. But I've been seeing that a lot because you can click right on that and it immediately opens your Edits app.
I
It's
think
like
that
that.
for all of them, I'm noticing, as always, as usual, as per ever, even though I'm kind of on my, coming back from my hiatus, the more I post, the better, everything that you get, the better everything. So the consistency does matter in that that is part of that brand building and being seen and building credibility, reputation, visibility, becoming memorable because you're being seen, all the stuff, right?
Yeah, but just come up with a publishing schedule that you can maintain. You don't have to post everywhere every day. That's not necessary, and it usually affects your like make sure your quality is up to snuff and you're not like I need to post on all my platforms every day and you're coming up with something like put some thought into it, make sure it aligns with your strategy and go for it. Everything doesn't have to blow up to be successful. You never know who's going to see something, but just don't feel obligated. I don't think it's necessary on all platforms. So,
I love that Lanier, who is a LinkedIn expert, which we're heading to next, but she said this, which applies across the board. The strongest visibility strategies build recognition, credibility, and relationships with the people who matter rather than simply generating more impressions. And that's the same, direction that content is moving in when it's not just haphazard posting, but it's, series and stories and meaningful content, whether it's text or carousels or whatever it is, it's built into a more meaningful strategy. Um, and it also is trying to, bring an audience along, have some audience pull along with it. But also, it's about like not chasing the next thing all the time and getting like leaning into and following your core stuff so that you're not like all over the place because you're not making those key relationships and building that strong if you're every which where, which we all like to experiment, and partly we have to because we work with clients who are in all the areas, but you have to, with your company, really work on that focus so that no matter which platform you're heading to, like we talked about with branding last week, like, or 2 weeks ago, it's still threaded in there. It's woven in, underlying somewhere in everything across platforms.
yeah, absolutely. You don't have to jump on everything. Lisa and I, when we our reaction to the big text on Instagram posts. We're not necessarily a fan of that, neither one of us. You don't have to do that. Like, just because that happens to be trending, and some of the specific ways it's trending may not be applicable to what you do or your brand or your business. So check it out, see if it works for you. If you're trying too hard to jump on a trend, it's probably not for you. Like, it should come up with it should generate an idea relatively quickly, or you can come up with something to do with it. If you can't, then you don't necessarily need to jump on that trend. It's you can still be aware of it or recommend it to other people, but you don't necessarily have to jump on it.
How's LinkedIn going for your work, Lisa, and you and your clients? Anything exciting there?
Not really. I haven't actually been on there myself too much lately. I don't think I've posted even this whole week on there.
It seems like it's changing again to me suddenly. I was kind of excited about, going in a little heavier on LinkedIn, but it seems different. I don't know. But we have to remember this part, the AI connection with LinkedIn, which we talked about a few weeks ago. Again, Lanier Johnston, who I have a connection with on LinkedIn, and she's an expert, and I kind of follow along with her. They did an experiment because they brought it up recently, I think right around the time, right before, right after Jaime and I talked about it, and how LinkedIn it was one of those sites that were getting cited through AI search. And she talked about it, but she said since then they've done a little bit more experimentation, and what they found, and this is interesting, is that for one thing, the different like ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Perplexity, all of them kind of do pick up different signals. So they're not scraping for the same thing to pick up their cited content, which means you might get picked up in different ways by these different AIs, which I thought was really interesting. These LMNs and these, did I say that right? Uh, but these scrapers, I call them. She also says that it comes down to they reward coherence sometimes over credentials because of the way they go across and what they look for. So, if here's another one. Individual profiles on LinkedIn get 75% of the AI cited content right now, which is also kind of a surprise, right?
Yeah,
And just over half of the cited voices have fewer than 10,000 followers. So the smaller accounts are over half of those cited. And again, 75% come from individual profiles versus business, which we've talked about, the duking it out between should you be a personal or business profile on LinkedIn. But interesting, that stat.
I will
Um,
say that for all the talk about AI content, especially what we lovingly refer to as AI slop, like just the generic, no human voice in it at all, for all the focus on different platforms, like YouTube's really looking at it. You see more of it I see more of it on LinkedIn than anywhere. There's just so obviously AI. The commenting drives me crazy, but you just see so many like just generic AI posts on LinkedIn. I think it outranks any other platform right now, especially in terms of it's not good. So it's interesting how they're. I think it's just another way that you can build your brand and break through that. Also, the other thing with LinkedIn is, as much as it's the cool place to be, it's also summer and it's still a professional first platform. So I think we might be seeing a slowdown on there just because it's the middle of July and people are having summer Fridays. I have clients who do that, or getting out of the office earlier, trying to be outside and enjoy the weather, or going on vacation. So, as much as nobody wants to talk about that, you could just be seeing a typical summer slowdown on LinkedIn.
I've actually experimented before on actually on the slowdown, like strategically posted for clients. One in particular, I did kind of a purposeful thing in August, which is supposedly the slowest month in social, which we're heading towards. And we got really magnificent results, and maybe it's because we didn't put the brakes on like everybody else. Maybe it was a good time to stand out because we got really good reports that month because we decided not to take the slowdown. But I think again, all these platforms need fed. They're like feeding the beast, right?
Yeah.
But why we're talking about LinkedIn more so this year is because a lot of people with the chaos going on with the political scene and stuff, especially on like Twitter and Facebook, I think people that wanted to be business moved over to LinkedIn to maintain a business decorum.
Yeah. Yeah.
and and so I think that was part of what drove it. And then, like Jamie pointed out, younger people coming on there because they're trying to, enter into the professional space. Then they threw games in there, which I think is weird.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: AI is parsing from there, and so that's one of the things that you need to know. And it's looking for signals. It reads whether you're a headline, your about section, some of the things we talked about before. You don't have to be huge, which I think matters because it's always good when the littler guys don't feel like they're out of the game. Here's one thing you should know: a dormant profile is an active negative signal, she says. So that's something that you might want to make a note if you're not doing LinkedIn, but you had a profile there somewhere along the line, get rid of it because that's actively a dormant, that's actively a negative signal picked up from LinkedIn. And, if it's feeding into AI, you don't want that chance to hit your business profile or business information. And it says publish for the citation layer, like you want to get cited. And here's what she says is the four things: specific, structured, named, and fresh. And also, speaking of fresh, they're saying that the stuff they are pulling out of LinkedIn at those high rates that I mentioned earlier, things that are over a year old are barely being touched.
Oh, well, that's it does tend to really. I have remember when we were doing the episode on LinkedIn and I Googled myself and LinkedIn came up first.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
does tend to really show up well in search results. But yeah, we are way past the point where LinkedIn is a create your profile and forget it. So it pays to be semi active on there if you don't want to be on there all the time. Try to be on there occasionally. You mentioned the games, which I think are a little odd too, but they continue to add features like they brought gifts to comments. That's a big thing now. So you can. I'm not sure what that's going to do to the professionalism of the platform that you can now respond to people with gifts, but we'll see. I know people were excited about it because they love to
I
comment with
didn't
those.
even see that yet. Did you see that yet, Lisa? No, because you
I
haven't been
did.
hanging out on LinkedIn.
Well, no, I have. I have a client, so I've seen it
Oh, yeah.
from that
It's
perspective. And also, I think is there also voice response too?
Oh, yeah. I heard that was being introduced, which is funny since they did away with audio spaces.
Yeah, that is weird.
Do you have any Pinterest updates? Lisa and Jamie and me were all working on Lisa's tips and tactics from the last time she was a guest.
Yes. I looked at my stats, and the only thing that was net positive for the last 28 days is clicks to the website. Everything else was down a bit, and I think because of the being summertime, that's the only thing I can see on there that's different. That we're in that phase of July. Um, I'll know
Yeah.
more in the next month and
I
see
would
what
say that
happens.
platform might suffer summer more than most because that's you're dreaming, you're shopping, you're, creating a room, you're grabbing ideas. right? The kind of the whole theme of Pinterest is more like laid back, and like when you're collecting ideas or collecting, I don't know. It just seems like it would be something that people aren't just hanging out doing in the summer as much, maybe, of all the platforms. That might make sense.
Yeah, it does. That's
I'm confused. I'm going to need a private lesson, Lisa, because I feel like I don't know what I'm doing on Pinterest. I feel like I'm not making things like I don't know how to make them go where I want them to go, or things aren't like I'm confused. I'm just
I'll
saying.
take a look at it.
Although
I'll take a
I
look at
am
your
seeing
message.
some, I am seeing some stuff like going on. Like it's not that nothing's happening, but I still don't get it exactly.
sometimes it's a mixed bag too. Like my most of my stats are down. I got a bump when I archived some of my boards. But yet my outbound clicks and saves are up significantly. So it's kind of a weird mishmash of
So when I'm thinking what topic next, Reddit, I know we need a Reddit update because we talked about how people were gaming Reddit to try to get this AI visibility and or search recognition, even snippets if they somehow tuned into Reddit. Lisa, you want to take this one?
Well, I was just reading from Barry Schwartz, the Rusty Brick on X. I follow him on YouTube. He's actually had over 50,000 articles published since he's been doing SEO. He's amazing.
holy cow.
And it just sounds like Reddit's not going to be doing as well in the AI overviews. Like the direction it's all going in didn't sound positive. Um, so, and I'm on Reddit, and I try to get on there every week. I answer some questions. Once in a while, I'll post something on I have a page there as well, and I've been on there for years. It's interesting to, read others' comments and questions because it can give you some ideas.
Hmm.
And I've seen some traffic from there, but nothing substantial. Um, so something to keep an eye on, but I wouldn't invest all my eggs in that basket.
Yeah. I do think the one trend that I am enjoying across a lot of platforms is the behind the scenes and showing your process to help combat AI. You're seeing a lot of brands not only release a effectively a commercial, a reel, whatever, but then they'll actually release the behind the scenes content showing you the making of it to prove that it's not just AI generated, that they actually created it. So you're seeing a lot of that specifically on Instagram, but I think it's spilling over onto other platforms as well, especially their sister platform, Facebook, and even on LinkedIn a little bit. But I think that's something that you're going to continue to see because people are trying to stand out and show you, hey, we actually created this content and it's appealing to people right now.
Our friend Ann Smarty, SEO Smarty on Twitter X, sorry, I think, kind of as a rebuttal, just put out a newsletter in the last day or two, and she was saying that it's sort of like people are starting to try to like play the system or trick the system where they're putting like Jamie talked about, where they're putting like links to Reddit to try to get the Reddit juice to their site when it's really not a comment from Reddit legitimately. And I think what Anne was saying is that there's companies who are doing Reddit marketing properly that will be getting, building their brand and getting cited and getting business even with how they use Reddit, and will get the AI for citations. But it isn't the ones who are doing all the trickery. And because it kind of caught on that Reddit's the thing, like people, I think, spoiled it or something. And I think there's some kind of rebuttal happening from that too, where they're saying, well, if that's the case, we're not doing it anymore. The other thing that I think about all the time and can never stop thinking about is my blog, because your blog has a big job. And I wanted to just really quickly, if we could, talk about your blog as really being the heartbeat, the living part of your website. What I say is, if your website without a blog is like a heart without a beat, which was a pretty popular thing to say. People like that, but I feel like it's true. And this is something Lisa's been giving a lot of recommendations on lately. So these are the three I wanted to just have her give us a quick update on. I've been working on my broken links, but it's not easy. I'm shocked at how many I'm finding, Lisa.
Yes, this um, my favorite tool is called Link Whisper, and I believe they have a free version that you can try too, not just a paid, but a free. And it finds them for you automatically, and you're able to go ahead and I double check them. I want to make sure they're legitimately broken, so I click there to make sure that it's broken before I delete it. Once in a while, you find some that aren't, so don't trust everything as it's AI based, right? So I always check that. The other thing, before about knowing how to delete and update to the 301, I used to always figure if I had no traffic, I would delete something or give it a 301. But then I realized I was getting rid of some that had lots of comments, which is social proof. Or I went to Ahrefs backlink checker, which is free to use. You put in the URL and it tells you if you have any backlinks. So if I have backlinks that are decent, I don't want to get rid of it. I want to do a 301 or an update. So that's how I've been doing it. And it's been a very tedious process, but I believe I'm around 100 posts right now that I've deleted like maybe 5 and the rest were 301s or updates. Because I had over 800 and now I think I'm down to about 700. And I want to get that down probably another 100, but it's a slow process. And I
And
have
you
2 other blogs too.
you've been doing the house cleaning, the the spring summer cleaning with older content. How are you deciding, like is that, does the older content then get placed in like buckets of the delete, update, or 301, and how do you, again, kind of evaluate, do you have a system that you evaluate that by, or?
Yeah, because my blog really focuses on social media, blogging, and SEO. So I had a lot of categories that were business related, not related to those three. So those automatically are getting the boot. Um, that was the first thing. And then some of them, the content is so old, and I had some other social media networks that are no longer even around. So those had to get
Yeah.
out the door. There were a lot of them that were very similar, which you got to be careful of the cannibalization of them. So I wanted to point them all to one and get rid of the four. And as I get rid of them, I'm also deleting the media attached to them because my site was getting bloated and my CDN, would slow the site down. So I'm also getting rid of a lot of old images. So that's helping the site speed. So those are the steps I've been really working at every day, an hour or two a day, trying to clean it all up and have the most relevant, up-to-date content.
And all of that does have that SEO, AIEOO. I say uh-oh. All the all the uh-ohs, AI uh-oh, SE uh-oh, all of it. GE uh-oh. That's another new one now. But we want to talk more about the SEO and AI impact, starting from the blog and the website, but moving into other things. I think we probably need to wrap this up. We're getting close for
Yeah, this
today.
sounds like a great intro for a future episode.
And here's another thing that is on the list with AI impact. This is, you guys will like this. The battle over AI versus human origin. And Lisa did an article that I want to bring in and talking about on LinkedIn. I think I saw it, Lisa. Yikes. You talked about plagiarism, and that enters into this question of AI and human origin. Now, remember, we like AI human collaboration, and I did that video, and one of the creative musical song and musicians that worked on it was AI and their talent infused, and the part of the theme of the video, music video, was, are you going to kick me out? Am I not an artist? Am I not a creator if I used AI? And if you think about it, like movies and commercials, they've been doing CGI which is AI magic, magic through the screen on things forever, right? But that's another thing that is also part of the controversy. Like, so YouTube is, busting creators for certain AI use, and yet they're screening you with AI. So, and they're giving you AI tools. So, like, who's AI allowed to use it, who's not, and
It is
where's the
ironic.
lines? And so that's an interesting conversation too. What else, girls? Anything special?
No, that's it.
No.
Thank you for being here today, Jamie, as always. Lisa, as our special guest, and you're welcome to come back and complete this or not next week when we talk about those AI and finish those couple things with the blog that I still want to get to, because I think a blog and your website is still a huge, important part, detail in your digital life. And we're also going to figure out what a little bit about the controversy of content origin and that question, and also the impact of AI. So even though we might not like it, it's out there, so we need to know how to optimize for it also. And so that's going to be, I think, a big battle. And Lisa can be reached at Inspired to Thrive. And anything you want to close with, Lisa, to remind people?
No, thank you for having me today. Yeah, and they can find me on Inspire to Thrive, and all my social channels have the Inspire to Thrive in there. So, yeah.
I'll hit you after this gets uploaded onto YouTube and make it a collab so you can have it on your channel. And
Definitely.
also, we'll do some more talking about all of these topics because they're so great. I thank you so much for your time and for being here. Thank you, James.
All
Appreciate
right. It was
everybody.
fun.
I'm going to
Bye.
hit stop there and take care. Thank you for checking out The Marketing Mirror with your host, Sue Ann from Right Mix for Business, and your co-host, Jaime Shine of Clearly Conveyed Communications. Brought to you by Right Mix for Business and Electrocast Media. Thank you.
Electrocast.
I'm locking out.